Hi, it's 3:30, exact 15:30 or 3:30 here in the Netherlands, and from whichever part of the world you are watching me right now, hello. Today is an unbelievably warm day, and I had second thoughts if I should even do this live cooking today at all. But then I just thought it's okay, I've just committed it online. Even if nobody comes in today, you can watch this video later on. It stays in as a recording, and you can also just do it that way too. So that's why I thought, let me just continue doing this demonstration or the workshop. So we're going to be cooking today something which I had posted about on my Instagram and Facebook feed, and everybody, I had more than 300 people who said yes, they would like to see how it's made on YouTube, and that's why I went ahead choosing this recipe. It's called a Lachha Paratha or a multi-layered paratha. So there are different versions of multi-layered parathas, of course. There is something called as the roti canai that you can find in Malaysia. You have Malabar parotha that you eat in Kerala, in the south of India. You have medium roti in Indonesia. So you have a lot of versions of this version of bread, of flatbread. But then in the north, as close to Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, so there it's eaten this way. And the difference between the roti miriam or roti canai or Malabar parota is that it's made completely with plain flour or all-purpose flour, and technique is different. So maybe someday I will do that as well. But in this case, it is made out of whole wheat flour, or in Dutch it's called Volkorenmeel. So I'm going to be mixing Volkoren with tarwe. In case you don't find Volkoren, which you can find in a supermarket, but I don't really like that for an Indian bread, because if you can see it over here, I'm going to show you how the Volkorenmeel in an Indian store would be. This is a really fine flour, Volkoren, really fine. It doesn't have those husks that you would find in the ones that you find in the Netherlands. So it's not that you cannot make a bread with that, you can, but you wouldn't get the finish that you would expect out of an Indian flatbread. So that's why I suggested, if you want to make this thing, you can go into the Indian store, and if you don't happen to have one in your neighborhood, you can always use just plain flour or all-purpose tarwe blue. It's absolutely okay. Along with the whole wheat flour atta or Volkorenmeel, we have tarwe, we have semolina or griesmeel. We need some sugar, some salt, water, ghee, butter, oil, whatever you have around you. We need a rolling pin, because you have to roll it into a flat bread, and a flat pan so that you can bake it or toast it or cook it on the flat pan. Those are the things that you need for the bread, and because we are making the bread, it has to be eaten with something. We will go ahead and make a really easy paneer dish. There are a couple of spices that are not really known to people, maybe if you haven't cooked before, but I will show you the spices that we will go ahead with in this recipe. And in case you happen to not find these spices in your pantry, I'll give you the alternative as well. So something which is not very known outside Indian subcontinent is the dried fenugreek leaves, or it's called kasuri methi in Hindi. This is nothing but the fenugreek leaves or fenugreek bladder, which is a microherb in the stage when it's a microgreen. You're just taking it out, drying it out, and this is what you have. So it brings a very different astringent umami flavor to your food, very special, and you always would use little amount of it and not a lot. Second ingredient that you need is fenugreek seeds by itself. You don't need so many, you just need maybe 7 or 8 of them, not a lot of it. You need kalonji or nigella seeds for this, and this is something which is pretty much common, as I've understood, in the Middle Eastern kitchen as well. So if you are somebody who follows, say, your ottolenghi as recipes, you will find this lying in your kitchen. You would be needed a little bit of black mustard. If you don't have black mustard, you can also use the yellow mustard seeds. That's absolutely possible. And you would need some cumin seeds. Now, komainzad is something which everybody anyways has in their kitchen. You would also need some turmeric powder, some red chili powder. So that's something which is anyways there, so I'm not going to be talking about that. So there's no alternative to that thing. So what we will do is we will start making the bread. So we will make the dough of the bread, and then while it's resting, because it needs to rest for at least 15 minutes, while it's resting we will make the paneer, and then go back to the bread, because that's the hero of today. So how would you be making the bread? It's super easy. I did mention in the ingredients list under this, also on Instagram and Facebook, that you would need 1 cup. 1 cup is approximately 85 gram-ish. This is less than a cup, of course, but this is what I am using for the 2 of us. This will make approximately 4 parathas for us. So that's why if you are somebody who is going to follow it for 6 parathas, go ahead and take 1 cup of whole wheat flour and 1 cup of plain flour. Yeah. So we would take them. There's no sifting and things to be done. It's just a home style cooking. So you're just going to mix the whole wheat to the plain flour. You have the semolina, the griesmeel. This from an Indian store would look a little whitish, but when you buy from a Turkish Moroccan store would be a little yellowish. Doesn't matter, buy that, it's the same thing. So there you go, you have the griesmeel in it. You need salt, a little bit of oil that we would be adding. Should we open up the door? Maybe it's just warm today. I've taken like half a teaspoon of salt. I would take again half a teaspoon of sugar in it, and maybe a tablespoon of oil. We would need a lot of oil. Remember, this dish is not meant for Weight Watchers. Absolutely not. The paneer dish maybe, yes, but not this one. Of course, you do need a lot of oil, ghee, butter, whatever you're using. You can make it vegan by not adding ghee or butter. Just use oil. And in this case, I'm using sunflower oil or Zonneblum olie. You can, and I would recommend you to use sunflower oil only because of the neutral taste or neutral aroma that it brings. And yeah, that's going to make it vegan eventually. Ooh, thank you so much. We've got a fan around now, so it feels much better. Okay, now you would need water to knead it together. But then you will keep measuring it as you go. You're not going to add the whole water as is, and that's why it depends on how much flour you need and when you're baking, etc. So just go with it as you progress. So you've mixed the oil, the sugar, the salt, and now you would keep taking water. I'm going to go very slowly so that if you are watching me right now and want to make this along with me, you can also do it. You just check the ingredients list in the description box and you will be able to do it along with me. If there's anyone who's watching it right now, just as you know, just say hi and let me know where you're watching it from so that you know, I know who's watching. So yeah, you just keep massaging it, so it's kneading at the end of the day, and that's exactly how, no matter which flatbread you do, you have to do this. Even a tortilla needs to be kneaded. And if by any chance, by mistake, if you end up adding a lot more water, like how I did right now, you would have to take out some extra flour to do the damage control, which I have to do now. So now you know, live videos show you what's happening live. There is nothing hidden. I'm not editing this out, because you did see what I did. I added extra tablespoon of water. I should have just added maybe 2 tablespoon of water in the second point, but I ended up adding extra, me being me. But yeah, so I'm going to keep kneading this. It doesn't need to be sticky like a pizza dough. You want it to be firm. So you're just going to keep kneading this so that the gluten kind of starts acting upon and starts being a little more. This is a thing which I've never ended up using a glove, and a pair of gloves don't give me that feeling when I'm making a bread or kneading a dough. Okay, I need to take some extra flour. So I'm going to add some tarwe because that's handy right now. This is nothing but what I'm using is the Albertine tarwe bloom that you get for making tarts and pastries. Is the same thing. And if this has happened to me, it will happen, might not happen to you. But this is normal if you're not paying attention, that a little flour, extra flour goes in. But now just don't keep adding a lot more flour, because then you're stuck in that whole thing of adding flour and adding water, because it's just never ending. You can use 2 hands to do this, but then it's just going to get super messy, because you'll have 2 hands, and then if somehow you have to do something around in the kitchen, you have to wash your hands. So I would always recommend you to use 1 hand if you can, but if not, then you can also use 2 hands to knead this. You can use a KitchenAid to roll this into a dough. Absolutely, don't have to go the old school way. You can use it. I a lot of times use a KitchenAid as well to make these kind of doughs, or a food processor. But yeah, hey, this is a cooking demonstration, so I want to show you the way in which it should be done, right? So no point in me showing it on a KitchenAid. So we're getting closer. Oh my God, the amount of water I actually added was a lot. So do we have any questions or comments or something so far?
No, we are just everyone saying hi.
Hi, hello.
Someone's watching from Amsterdam. Neha says hi. Alka says hi.
Hi, hi. Thank you so much for joining in. Yeah, you know what I've done. I've just done a mess. So I'm going to add a little more flour. And that's why this is now going to make at least 6 parathas. And that's the beauty of doing a live cooking. You do see it live, the mess that anyone can do. And that's not the fun in a curated video where I can easily edit this out.
So there's a question, can you freeze the parathas once cold?
So you can. What I would recommend is, and it's pretty easy step to do, when you do make the paratha, so I'll show you which stage you should take it out. When we actually roll the parathas and cook it in the pan, what you need to do is at which stage you take it out. I will show you eventually, but then you take it out and then you can start freezing it. Absolutely, it's possible to freeze it, and you can freeze it at least for a good 2-3 months in a good Ziploc bag. So it's possible to do this. Any kind of flatbread, honestly, even a naan can be frozen, paratha, or roti, chapati, filled parathas, anything can be frozen. And because we've not added any onion or filling in it, it's easier to freeze it too. So, do we know who's asked this question?
Neha's watching from Utrecht, and the question was from Tigreans.
Okay. Tigris, Amsterdam or something.
Tigre, yeah.
Tigray. Okay. Yeah, you can freeze it. You can absolutely. But I will show you eventually. If you do end up staying till this, to maybe the 3/4 of this video with me, you will see when you can take it out and freeze it. Hi Neha from Utrecht. I'm sure you're facing the heat just as we are over here. I live close to Amsterdam, so it's pretty warm here. It's just another day, but we should be blessed to have a warm, sunny day. Helps with the vitamin D. Maybe that's what. Yesterday I did post about it as to how the heat, the sun actually tans us so much that it's impossible. No amounts of skin lotions can help you from tanning. Okay, so I'm going to show you how it looks like. Maybe from the top view it's easier for you to see. If you see, this is soft, but it's not super sticky like a pizza or a naan dough. A naan dough is much softer than this, so this doesn't have to be that soft, but then this is again not very tough as a roti chapati dough has to be. So this is how it is. What we're going to do now is add a little bit more oil, and you're going to do this step of adding oil just ensures that the outer covering of the flour or the dough doesn't harden up while you are letting it rest. And why would you let it rest? Why will you not cook it immediately? Is because you have just activated the gluten by kneading it so much. So if you start rolling it right now, your dough will not roll that well, right? So, and also because we've got tarwe in it, it needs to rest for some time. What you could also do is make this dough, keep it inside a glass container, inside your fridge, and roll the bread the next day. You can knead it and then roll it the next day as well. Overnight is also fine. It does not matter. So if you have guests coming over on a Saturday, a Friday night is also fine. A Friday morning also you can roll it and keep it. Anyways, this is how it is. I'm going to now just let this rest with a cover like this and clean up my space, wash my hands, and I'm going to be back in less than a minute. Okay, so we are back. Let us clean the workspace. And now we will be making the paneer. What I've done is I've got 250 grams of paneer, like the big slab that you find in the supermarket. But I am not going to be using the whole thing. I've just taken half of it. We're just two of us at home. Doesn't make sense for us to make that big amount of paneer. So first I'll start chopping my onion. And this is a tip that I try and give kitchen tips every time that I do a live workshop, and so this is my tip to you. If you are somebody who doesn't want to start crying when you are chopping onion, follow this tip. I am sure this will help you. So I've just chopped off the edge or the ending. The head still stays. You're not taking off the head, okay? This is where the peak is. So this is where if you chop this off, you will definitely start crying. Take the onion, cut it into half over here, just slide it through that way and take your knife and how we like. So this is where you do, and then just take your hands. This will help you to have a little bit of hold over it, and that's it. So you've just chopped it super fine. Though for this dish you can chop it this way, you can finely chop it, you can slice it, doesn't matter. And there you go. The edges here untouched and no tears, no more tears after this. So I guess this trick will help you if you want to also have no tears. If you do happen to try this trick, let me know. Send me a text on Instagram or comment under this video if you do happen to try this trick. This is just if you have a huge onion or a tiny onion, doesn't matter, it's going to work out every time. And if you reach till the end of the onion, just chop it, and that's it. You've got your onion chopped all super fine, and there was no tear that were shed. So you've got your onions chopped. We're going to also cut or cube the paneer into relatively okayish size so that it can get directly in the curry. You can cut it into bigger slices or smaller sizes depending on how you wish to. So I'm going to just cut it into a little biggish size. So there you go. This turned out a little tiny, it doesn't matter. There you go. So my paneer is done. You also need a few green chilies, but again, you can skip the green chili completely. It doesn't need to be added, but then it just brings in a little kick. So I have these green chili. They're a little bigger than the Rawit green pepper. This is something which is pretty similar to what we would use in an Indian kitchen. We don't really use the Serrano or the Rawit, the tiny ones, or the Thai chili per se. This is what we use, and I was lucky enough to find it recently at the Indian store. So I'm going to just take 2 of them. You can use 1 or none as well. Just slice it in the center, and that's it. I am not taking off the seeds. I always say this in my workshops, that if you have attended my in-person workshop or a lot of these live cooking, you do know I don't believe that by taking out the seed it's of any use anymore, because why would you eat the green as is then? I mean, you rather not add the chili at all. If you want to not have heat in your food, reduce the chili or use the Spanish chili if required. That's a little less spicier as well. And I'm going to take my coriander, which we don't need it now, but right at the end we need it for garnishing. So there you go. Coriander is done. We'll have to clean this, but I'm going to now actually make the spice mix. So what I'm going to do is I have the nigella seeds, remember? So I'm going to take all the nigella. This is half a teaspoon of nigella seed. I have around 6 or 7 fenugreek seeds that I'm taking. I'll let it stay there. I need half a teaspoon of cumin seeds and half a teaspoon of black mustard seeds. You can also add some fennel seeds or fenkelzaad in this, because that brings in a really nice flavor. But again, it's okay to skip it if you don't have it. So I'm not adding it. And this is my dry spice mix. I have my powdered mix, which is turmeric and red chilli, and I'm not showing you that. Let's move this and start the paneer. So are you guys planning to eat this for lunch, for dinner today, or your dinner is already done? Let me know what your plans are, and are you planning to make this dish? If you're watching this, when do you think you would like to make this? Let me know. You've taken your pan. I've taken a regular kadhai or a deep dish. You can take a broad pan or the Dutch ovens as well. That's absolutely, anything is fine. We'll add the oil, and in this case I am adding maybe 2 tablespoons of oil in this. And then once the oil is a little warm, we will add all these dry spices into this, and then we will add our onion, green chili, and to just add in a little kick, we are not adding ginger and garlic. We don't want to add that, so we will add a little bit of ginger, but then we'll just julienne them and add it at the end as a garnish. Again, can be absolutely skipped. While this is getting hot, the main ingredient, it's called Dahiwale Paneer. Dahi stands for curd or yogurt. In India, when you're making curd, it's not that thick, but what I have is the Greek yogurt, and Greek yogurt is a little thicker. So if you are using Indian curd, you might need a little extra quantity. So I've taken here 6 tablespoons of Greek yogurt, and I've taken 2 tablespoons of Besan or Kikkererwtenmeel or gram flour. If you're using the Indian curd, which you can make it at home or you can buy it from the dairy farm, then in that case you might need a little extra yogurt, because in this case it's very dense and thick, and we'll have to make a mix of these two. But I feel that the pan is warm enough, so I'm going to go ahead and add my dry spices, and you've got to let it splutter in the pan, so that sizzle. Can you hear that? I guess not, but it will start sizzling. Please do not put your face into it, otherwise it will just pop out. This is a really a big mistake a lot of people do if they are not used to this, so don't do that. In this we are adding a little bit of gram flour. So what I did not mention earlier in the ingredients list, but what you do need to do is add a little bit of hing or asafoetida or duivelsdrekt in Dutch. But can you see the amount of duivelsdrekt that I will take? Literally less than 1/4 teaspoon of duivelsdrekt. That's it. You don't need to add a lot. The reason why you're adding this is also because you have the gram flour or Kikkererwtenmeel, and you don't want it to start making it tough for your stomach. Cook this on a medium flame, otherwise the spices will start burning really soon. And it's been almost 60 seconds, I guess, since we've added the spices. So we're going to add our onion and green chili. Do we have any questions or comments or something? Guys, if you have any questions at all, you do know you can type it out in the live chat. Please do so. I'm happy to answer them. So the onion has to cook for maybe 2 or 3 minutes till it gets slightly brown, and in the meantime we will whisk the yogurt with the gram flour. If you don't have Kikkererwtenmeel, in case you don't have it in your pantry, you should definitely, because there are like so many recipes that I will keep teaching which uses just Kikkererwtenmeel. It's such a powerful flour. If you don't have it, go get it. But if you want to make this dish today, what you could do is take a little bit of all-purpose flour, mix it with the yogurt and a little bit of kurkuma or turmeric powder. And it's not a good alternative, but then it at least does the job of thickening the gravy. And this way, the reason why you're going to add some flour to the yogurt is because the yogurt would otherwise split as soon as you add it to the pan. If you add any kind of flour to yogurt, it doesn't split when you add it to the pan, when it's super hot.
Okay, there is a question.
Yeah?
What is the function of gram for nutty flavor? Question mark.
What is the function of gram?
Yeah, is it like for nutty flavor?
Why have we added gram flour? So that's,
Okay, already answered.
yeah, that's what I just answered. The reason why you're adding the gram flour is to not let the yogurt split. And that's why you can just skip it up and add some all-purpose flour, tarwe bloom as well. It's absolutely doing the same job of the any other flour. So our thingy looks, the onions right now look kind of brown. We will go ahead and add some kurkuma or turmeric powder. I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of, that's a good question. I did not even hear it, but then before that I did answer it. So I hope that has helped you get the response. And I will take 1/2 teaspoon of red chilli powder. If you think it's getting a little spicier for your need because you have green chili and red chili powder, skip the red chili powder. You can get away with that as well. It's not going to be a huge miss in this dish. So just mix it all well. And now we're going to introduce the yogurt to the pan. And it's going to be almost, as soon as we add this, we will then look into our bread and start rolling them, because there's a lot of steps that we need to do to roll the bread as well. Also, gram flour is gluten-free, it's high in protein. So a couple of days back, I did share a kind of pancake that I made at home. It's called chilla or Besan ka pura. That's made out of gram flour. It makes amazing pancakes as well. We make pakoras or bhajias using gram flour. It's a great flour to actually have in your kitchen too. Let's add some water and mix it so that we get it all. This is literally a 15-minute dish. I mean, it's a great combination because this takes super long. This takes really less time. So you don't want to cook 2 long dishes at the same time, because that's just going to burn you out completely. What do you mean? Oh, okay. So this is a really quick dish is what I meant. The paneer is a really, really quick dish, and you don't want to pair up the paratha, which is a longish recipe, with another long dish. So generally, I try to have long dish, like a paratha, a Lachha Paratha, paired up with a shorter or a quicker version of a dish like this, because it just makes life so much easier. And our cat wants to enter the room because he wants to say hi to everybody now. So we're not, no, let's not. I don't know if you guys can hear both of them. We have twin cats, kittens, I would say. So I'm going to go ahead. Also, this dish, gram flour makes the dish pretty dense. So if you plan to make this dish in the morning and eat it later for dinner, you would end up seeing that there's a big thick paste of something which doesn't look like what it was when you had cooked. So this is a fair warning to everyone that if you want to make this dish, because it's super easy, make it just before you want to eat it.
So there's another question. Is Dehi mirch chili preferred to regular chili?
Dehi mirch chili to regular chili, yes, you can do that. I generally prefer Kashmiri red chili more because it's red in color and less spicy. So for me, I go ahead with Kashmiri red chili, but Dehi mirch is a really good choice as well. You can also use that. And if you've never had chili before, and if you're new to the world of Indian chilies, you can also add paprika. Not the best choice though. Okay, I'm gonna add my paneer now in this. This is literally store-bought paneer. I have not made these at home, but if you want to know how to make them, you are right now on my YouTube. Just scroll down to the first video that I made 2 months back when I had launched this channel, is how to make paneer at home. So it's a super easy dish to make paneer at home. And it's just literally like ricotta. It's a firmer version of ricotta cheese. Okay, this is going to cook by itself. I'm going to transfer this, keep the heat on that, get a lid for it, and let this keep kind of cooking while we make the bread. Okay, let's see if the dough, it's not going to rise up or something, because this is not, what do you say, we've not added any yogurt, we've not added any yeast or something. Nothing is going to change in the dough. It's just going to let the gluten settle in. Now that I have them, I will now divide them into 6 portions maybe. Let's see. For now, for demonstration, I'll just show 2, because otherwise you guys are going to be here with me till my dinner time, where both of us will keep making the bread. So we don't want to do that. So that's why I'm just going to show 2 of them. Yeah. And now comes the tricky part, and I want you guys to really pay attention to this. Checking if the paneer is done. Okay. In India, we have something like this, which is nothing but a place where you roll your bread. You don't have to have this. You just need a rolling pin like this, which you can find in a blocker as well. And use your kitchen counter for rolling it. So what I'm going to do is, and you need to keep some extra flour to dust it so that it helps you to roll the bread. Just flatten it up between your palms. Take a little bit of this. Just roll it into as thin bread that you can. So just keep rolling it. Also, because it has a tarve or all-purpose flour, it's possible that it will keep rebounding into a tinier bread. So you have to keep doing this till it kind of becomes less stubborn than what it was before. Guys, if you have any questions at this stage, please ask, because this is where the real deal comes, where you make the Lachha Paratha. Okay, so I have rolled it into a super thin dough, but if you see, I am rolling it and it's coming back as and all we do it. Okay, now this is it. I have some ghee, but what I'm going to do is just put it in the microwave oven and make it a little more liquidy than what it is. And while that's happening, we will start just flattening this up. Okay, I know you guys can't see it, but because it's on a medium simmer, the reason why you have to keep this under a simmer, the paneer dish, is because gram flour, if not cooked well, can taste like you're eating flour. And you don't want to do that, and that's why it's important to cook it on a simmer for a good 5-10 minutes or so, and that's it. You don't have to cook it for a really long time, but you should be doing that. I guess it's done. So what we will do is now just spread some oil and some flour in it. Nice. We have our ghee. You can use butter as well, of course. Yeah. Just spread it across. Take some flour and spread that across as well. Don't have to coat it to the brim, but just a little bit powder or just sprinkling around. Now comes the part where you make the lachha, and lachha means pleat, right? So you're just pleating it up, just like if you are from India, or if you've seen someone from India wearing a traditional dress, a sari, so your pleats or over here are pleated. So you're going to literally do that to your bread as well. So you take a little portion of the edge and you start pleating it into tiny fan-like things. So as a kid you did make those paper fans, so it's the same thing that you would do with this as well. Remember to keep rolling it till the edge to the end, so it doesn't, just not the center, but also till the end. Just keep making this lachhas, or the fan kind of a thing. And here we have come to the end of the thing. Right, now that you've come till the end, I'm just going to stretch it a little longer, okay? We'll keep stretching it a little longer. Don't put a lot of pressure, just be gentle, but then also keep stretching it. And then you take one corner of the bread and start rolling it like this. Not a tight roll, I mean super tight, but then it has to be rolled with light hands like this, as you can see. And when you come to the end, just take it and put it over here to the edge. And there you go. If you see, there are these layers, and when we roll it and when we bake it, or when we put it in the tawa, it'll start getting visible even more. So I'm going to do the second one to make you guys have a better look again. If you have any questions again for this, just feel free to type it out now or when you're watching this video later. Just a thin If you find this kind of a bread difficult to do, I have another recipe of a paneer paratha that I did, which is a stuffed bread of full whole wheat flour, and you've got a stuffing of paneer inside it. So if you want, you can also check that. That's a much easier recipe when compared to a Lachha Paratha, which needs a little bit more amount of effort. So there you go. We're going to take our ghee. You can also, as I said, use oil in this case. Don't have to be ghee. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, so there's a new question. So you're mainly creating air pockets to make it flaky like a croissant?
Exactly. As I had mentioned earlier. Yeah, so as somebody asked that if I'm making an air pocket to make it flaky like a croissant, it is that. It is basically making a croissant, but a flatbread type of croissant. So this is the Indian version, or the North Indian version of croissants that you're making. Yes, you're absolutely right that you're making air pockets for it to be flaky. Yeah. Any more questions? Yeah? Okay, perfect. Now comes again the stage of making the fan. You can make it as big or as small as you wish to. If you make it super big, you will have less amount of layers. If you make it really tiny or thin, you'll have more amount of layers. And that's just the difference in if you have a lot of layers in your bread versus less amount of layers in your bread. You know, you have a lot of croissants which are really good because they're super flaky, and there are some croissants which are dense. That's because they didn't take effort in it. So both of them are croissant. Now, as you have rolled it out, you're just going to be stretching it out a little bit. The reason why you're doing this is because you want the layers to be stacked up on each other a little better. Yeah? And now take it this way, and then now start rolling it. And comes the edge, and this is where people get confused what to do with the edge. You basically would take it to one of the edge. You don't have to take it to the back side or the front. It's just one of them, and then let it rest. This is it. Now what I would do is take a brush, and I will brush this. So what I'm doing is I'm literally brushing my bread, and I'm going to now let this sit for 5 minutes before I start rolling them again. And while we do this, our paneer is done, so we are just going to see the stage in which it is and if it needs anything. Ooh, it smells good. It's got a little stuck to the edges because we kept it a little longer than 10 minutes. So if you see, this has turned out to be a super dense kind of a dish. I don't think I've added any salt to it, but I'm going to still do a tasting and see if it needs, if I did add salt, if not. No, no salt at all. So now that I've added salt, I would also add a little bit of sugar to this so that it balances out the flavor. It's not spicy at all at this point. So I'll add just a little bit of sugar. and just a little bit of water because I feel it's too dense, and I'm not going to be eating now in the next 30 minutes. So by the time I eat it, it might get even denser than what it was before. So that's it. While this is coming to a boil, I will show you how to add the kasuri methi. If you want to grow your own kasuri methi or the microgreens of fenugreek seeds, yeah, you can actually do it at home. These are store-bought kasuri methi. If you walk into an Asian store, you will find kasuri methi in packets there. So you've got your dried kasuri methi, and because it always has these stems, what we do is we take out the leaves by brushing it between both your palms this way. And you don't want the stalk to be in it much, so you're just taking out, and there you go. You have the stems. We are going to throw that off. We don't need it. That's it. Done. Comes your coriander leaves, and I turn off the flame. If you want to reheat this dish, be careful to not reheat it at a very high flame because it has yogurt and it could split, though it will not because we have added the gram flour, but it could split a little bit. What I'll do is, just to top it up, I'll add a little bit of ghee. Absolutely optional, you don't have to do it. And the paneer is done. So I'm going to serve this in a bowl and start working on the bread. So if you have any questions so far, please let me know. We are just left with another 10 minutes of the cooking left. So if you have any questions, please ask me now so that I can answer them right away. And that's it. Perfect. There you go. This paneer dish. Even if you don't make the paratha, you can make this paneer dish for sure. I just tasted some. I couldn't resist, so it tastes good. Now, coming back to our paratha, let me heat up the pan.
What type of dishes would you serve the paratha?
I will serve this with this paratha. I will serve it with something like this, like a Dahiwale Paneer, or also jeera aloo, which is nothing but a potato with cumin seeds just sauteed, or with chole, which is chickpeas, like a really, you know, a pindi chole kind of a thing. So I would serve it with a dish like that. Let me know if you want me to make a video on that, because I had it in my mind to make a chole dish, like a proper chole. I do have one which is with coconut milk, but that's just not true Indian to make chole with chickpeas.
Chole with coconut.
With?
Coconut.
Yeah, chole with coconut milk is not really an Indian thing to do. So I would like to make one. If you want, I can make a recipe where you can do that, or you can serve it with chicken curry, mutton curry, absolutely as well. So if you see, this is how the bread has been resting. I've turned on my flame over here. It's on the maximum that my gas can go up to is 9, my induction, and this is right now at a 6. Now I will take a little bit flour and dust it. What you have to now remember is, if you're rolling out other kind of breads, you can actually flip-flop the sides and roll it, but when you're making a lachha paratha, if you flip-flop the two sides, the air pockets might just, you know, stretch or mix with each other. So my recommendation would be to just stick to one side, and then, and you don't have to be like very harsh or hard with it or too soft with the bread while you're rolling it, because you're going to break the layers. It's not going to happen that way. So just go ahead and make your regular chapati or paratha, just roll it that way. You might need flour as you go, so just keep doing that. So if you see, I'm just rolling it on all sides so that it looks rounder in shape. If you're new to this, your bread might not look round. It is okay. It's absolutely okay. Don't push yourself to getting super round parathas the first time. It's absolutely fine to get a non-roundish bread as well. So if you see, this is done, this part is done, and if you see, it's over here, you can see the layers. So the minute we add it to the pan, which is warm enough, you know, after we've cooked it, you will start seeing the layers. So I'm going to roll the second one and then show you how it looks. So the second one is also the same thing. You just keep I generally wear an apron during my live cooking session. Today I just didn't bother to do that. It's too warm to get an apron as an extra clothing on. Nah. Can't do it today.
Is there any oil or butter in the pan?
No, there's no oil or butter yet. I am done rolling the second one, so I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So you will see there's no oil or butter. Now my second is also rolled out. I'm going to keep it to the side and move this around so that you can see it. Okay. If you see, I have just literally added it to the pan. I have not added any oil as yet, but we will add oil. We'll brush it with ghee when we bake it on the other side after a while. So if you see, I don't know if you can observe it, but there are some bubbles that are visible, like these bubbles here. This means that the other side is kind of getting there. And now you see can you see the layers? These are the layers that are coming up, and it has started kind of getting brownish. And this is the stage where I would add with a brush, with a spoon, whatever you wish to. As I said, this dish is not meant for any kind of Weight Watchers, so I don't know of any healthier way to make this dish. There's a lot of fat and oil which goes in. And the second side also, if you observe, we flipped it right one time. So you see that there is bubble coming in on the other side as well. So we flip it back again. And then we add. And now if you see, the reason why you're seeing this fluffing up happening is because there is air inside it, and that's trying to escape out of the bread as soon as you put it to the pan.
Is this the stage where you can freeze them?
Okay, good point. I did forget. So the stage where you can freeze them is where you would just turn it two sides, right? You turned it on one side and then you turned on the other side. Without adding the ghee or oil, you take it off from the pan. So which would mean that if a lachha paratha takes say 5 minutes on the pan. In your case, it should take you 2 minutes in the pan and you are out. So both the ends, you would ensure that there are brownish spots, and then you take it off. And then between butter paper or baking paper, you just store one of other, let it cool down, put it in a Ziploc bag and put it inside your freezer. And there you go. The layers are visible. So yeah, thanks for reminding me at that question. Yes, I did say that I'm going to answer that. Okay, think a little bit. So you want it to slightly get brownish if you see the layers are visible, but you want it to be slightly browner than this. You don't want to eat uncooked dough, otherwise it tastes really bad. And I've taken a plate, lined it up with a kitchen towel, a paper, a cloth. You can take a kitchen napkin as well and do that. Doesn't have to be a cloth, and we'll transfer it. The reason why you would do that is because it stays moist and soft inside the cloth when you're going to eat it. And we're done. I don't know if you guys can see the layers. Can you see it? And it'll get even more layering. There'll be more pockets when we do the next trick. Sorry. So let's add the second one. Again, there's no oil added. It's just hot pan. And now for the first one, you've taken this out of the gas. You would take a cloth and just fluff it up. And you would see, I don't know if it's visible now in the top view, you will see these lachhas visible. And if you like your bread, Lachha Paratha, to be crunchy, then don't let it sit under a lid. But generally the Lachha Parathas are supposed to be soft with a lot of layers, and yeah, that's how it's eaten. You would let it sit for some time before you serve it. It just makes it more softer that way. This is the last bread, and then we are done. We're going to start. We'll serve them all, and I'll make the rest of the bread later. That's about it. Okay, we see that it's getting fluffy on this side as well. Okay, so this is where you will take it off, yeah, or twist it on the other side and get more brown spots over here, and that's where you will take it out for freezing it. But now, because we're going to cook it or eat it now, so we are just adding our ghee. Don't be conjuice, or that's what in Hindi it's called miser. I don't know the Dutch word. If anybody's from the Netherlands who can speak Dutch, tell me. Somebody who doesn't spend money, what's it called in Dutch? I don't know. In Dutch. It's called, no. So I don't know what it would be. But if there is, I mean, of course there's a word, but I don't know the word. So just adding in more ghee over here, and another 2 minutes, and we take it off. Let's clean.
So somebody has given an answer, but I can't see that word.
What is it? Just read it out, maybe.
Maybe Kikkererwtenmeel. G-R-E-R-I-G.
Keirik. Okay, keirik. Somebody doesn't like to spend the money. Okay, keirik. Yeah, conjuice. Yeah, my Dutch is getting there, you know. Ik zal heel snel in Nederlands de video's ook maken. Ik hoop dat. Maar ik ben niet zo verzekend over mijzelf dat ik kan in Nederlands ook in kookvideo doen. Ja, niet zo, niet te snel. So, this is done. I'm gonna take it off again from here and put it in this. Turn off the flame. Super hot. Okay, this is the second paratha. You do the same trick. You can do it with your hands. Be careful that you don't burn your hands, and that's why I'm showing you this trick of taking a cloth and doing this, but you can always do this with your palms. And there you go, our paratha is done. How do we serve it? Let's serve it. I want to serve this so that you guys can see it finally. Okay. So we have this, the paratha, the paneer. I'm going to add some of the ginger julienned later on, but for now I'm not doing it. Added some ghee on top. And there you go. This is the dish. You've got your Lachha Paratha and your Dahiwale Paneer done. I know this was a little longish video, I'm guessing. I don't know what time it is. Yeah, so it's been an hour that we're doing this. It's a little long. Thank you so much if you have stayed till the end of the video. If not, if you've dropped out and want to come back later, never mind. But if you happen to try these recipes, this one or the Lachha Paratha, please tag me on Instagram. My handle is SpiceTripWithPaulami, the same name that I use on YouTube. And if you're watching this video now or later, please write it down in the comment section if you liked it, or if you want to give some tips of what kind of videos I should make or what recipes I should do. It's pretty warm. I would not ask you to spend any longer in front of the TV or mobile or in your kitchen anymore. So thank you so much for staying till the end, and I hope you all have a brilliant weekend. Take care and bye.